Restaurant Unstoppable. Inspire, empower, and transform the industry.
What were you going to say before
I was just going to say I went to a company called Creation Gardens. They're based out of Louisville, Kentucky, and I sold produce. They were a tiny, tiny company. They're running a truck out every day. They had 3 box trucks, I think, that went around, and they were tiny. It's a small little company, and the vice president came into the restaurant, and he was cold calling the restaurant. And I said, "Why is the vice president calling on a restaurant? Shouldn't you have like a sales?" He goes, "Well, we're brand new to town. We don't have anybody yet." But, and I had a buddy who just got back from Iraq, and I was trying to find him a job because he was working with me. He was wearing me out, and I didn't want to have to fire him. I was like, I'm trying to find this guy a job. And he told me, he goes, "It pays, X amount of dollars and you get a company car." And I was like, hey now, let's talk about this. And they were such a unique company. They were so right up my alley. They said, basically, we want to be different than every single other company, and we want to be the people that provide the level of service you're providing to your guests. We want to do that for chefs. And I thought, no shit, I could do that. Everybody always gives these chefs rules. You must order by 4. You must do this. You must do that. You can't split this. You can't split that. He goes, we split every single thing that we sell. We can order until midnight for next day delivery. We deliver 7 days a week. And I was like, wow, this is amazing. And I jumped into that full on. Again, I don't do anything half-ass. And we built that thing 3.5 years into the economic downturn, 3,000% in business. I mean, we were pretty large by the time I left. And I was in every single kitchen in the city, independently owned local restaurants until 2009 happened. And I think I had 49 accounts by myself. I was driving a truck on Mondays. I was doing, my warehouse is in Louisville. So I spent $30,000 at Costco that final year. And I called the owner. I said, "Look, I can't do this. I need help." And he said, "Just work harder. I cannot hire anybody. There's a economic downturn." He said, "Just hire somebody." And that day, FreshPoint, who's a national company owned by Cisco, called and said, "Hey, we want to have lunch with you." And I didn't really have any intention of leaving, but they came by and said, "Look, we don't know what you're doing. We assume you have a team of 10 sales reps. What's going on?" I go, "It's just me."
I want to get into what it is exactly that you're doing. So just to go back, you joined this company called Creative Solutions. What was the solution that they were offering restaurants? Spell that out one more time for us.
Well, it's Creation Gardens.
Sorry.
They've changed their company name to What Chefs Want.
Creation Gardens. This is what happens when I take notes while I'm trying to listen at the same time. Creation Gardens. And say it one more time, what it is exactly that they were doing.
So they had a pretty simple mission. The owner, he owned an ice company, and he sold all the ice, these big, huge chunks of ice to people that did ice carvings, and he had all this cold storage. So he started very small and started carrying some different produce items. These chefs would come in, and they would buy ice from him. He started carrying some special items, and the chefs would come in, and he'd said, what would you like to see more of? I want to see more produce. I want to see more specialty. What's going to make your life easier if I could do things differently? I'm an independently owned guy. Well, we want deliveries on Sundays. We don't want to have minimums. We want to order late at night. If we have to place our order at 4 o'clock in the afternoon, I don't know what I'm going to use that night, so it makes it a challenge. So he just basically put a product together. He said, "Look, you can order until midnight for next day. We're going to deliver 7 days a week. You have no minimums, and you can split anything that you want in any case."
So you're kind of like a gopher for these chefs that are trying to be creative last second and they need things. You're going and getting it.
I was
more on demand.
Very much smoke and mirrors, because I would tell them, "Yeah, we have fava beans. Yeah, we have chanterelles. We've got, hen of the woods. We've got those things." I said,
"Yes. Where do I get it?"
And the next, 90% of the time we'd have it, but the times that they didn't, then I would go to Whole Foods. Or if they'd say, "This isn't pencil asparagus, I need Sharpie size asparagus," well, then I'm going to Costco. I didn't have a local warehouse, so I literally was in my car, I had Nextel walkie-talkies, and we're back in the little noise. I'd have a driver, "Hey, Brandon, this is Brian. I'm in with Chef Ricky, and he doesn't like his asparagus. Can we get him some more out today?" And I would go, "Yeah, tell Ricky I'll have it for him in an hour."
Yeah.
And then I would have to go find it.
So you're just a networker. You had a network. You knew over time you build that network. You know who has what. You know where to get what.
I could find you any produce item in the city.
You remind me a lot of what Cameron Carrington's philosophy. Cameron is out of Karen Mitchell Restaurants out of Columbus, Ohio, and his famous thing is the answer is yes. What's the question? And it sounds like that's exactly what you're doing, where you're like, the answer is yes. What do you need? Okay, I'll find it. What happens when you don't have it?
I don't know. I never had that happen.
Well, that's crazy.
No, I mean, I woke up every morning and it was just me in this tiny. I had 3 trucks I meet off of the interstate, and the semi would come down from Louisville, and we'd meet 3 little box trucks with back up to it. We would pull a pallet transfer jack in between, and we would just run back and forth. But I woke up every morning and I realized that I had Murphy Produce and Ernest Williams Produce and Dixie Produce, and there's 7 other produce companies, not to mention the broadliners and Cisco, GFS, PFG, Reinhardt, US Foods. All these other companies were against me, and it was just me. I had me and my drivers. And so I realized every morning I had to wake up with 100 people trying to take everything I had worked for. And I had to defend it with all of them. And I had to work harder. I had to work smarter. I had to do everything within every ounce I had. So just 7 days a week, I'm at a dock at 5 a.m., loading and unloading trucks. Driving a truck 1 day a week because I wanted the drivers to know I'm not scared.
Where's there a dock in Nashville?
Well, there's I had to go find one. That was another thing. I had to rent a dock space.
Oh man,
where I could at some point I had to load.
I think of a dock. I think of like something next to the ocean. That's because that's my.
Oh no, like a you pull up a trailer.
Okay, I got you.
Yeah, you'd unload everything onto a dock and then reload it. Not
like
like
you're driving to the ocean to get these things.
No, it was a lot. It was just a straight hustle, an entrepreneurial kind of a. If I don't do this, I'm going to fail, and this is what it took to get the job done, so you got to do it. So when I met with FreshPoint, they go, we just assumed you had like 10 reps. And I'm like, no, it's just me. And they're like,
so you have all these people competing against you for your business. What's the one thing that you had that these bigger organizations cannot compete with that lets you compete?
Hustle.
Yeah.
I mean, hard work.
There's one thing that I'm curious about, and I'm not saying your answer is wrong because I'm sure that was absolutely it, but what was your relationship with these individuals like versus the bigger broadliners?
Oh, no. Yeah, it was much more genuine. My entire purpose, I wasn't there to drive profitability. I was there to help them succeed.
Yeah.
I mean, I genuinely cared that they got the product they needed and that their guests, my guest, like my end customer was their guest. Mm-hmm. And they knew that I knew in my heart that if I didn't get them that product when they needed it, that their guest would suffer, and I was not going to have that.
Yeah.